Hello, welcome. This is my first ever live stream, and today I'm going to show you guys just everything that it is taking to make the biggest leap. So, right here I have my set, and I just wanted to show you all the set right here. This is the main set, or the first set that I ever made for this short film. It looks a little cloudy here because I've got this big cube of clouds right here. And we will see that right here. So I can turn the clouds on and off just like that. If I don't want to render the clouds, I can just hit the disable and renders button. That means that when I go here and say render animation, it won't render the clouds. So I'm actually going to turn these off for now, just to show you all the world right here. It looks really weird on this end because I have just an image, and I can show you all real quick. I'm waiting for the image to show up. Let me try that again real quick. Here we go. So this image right here is the sky. I really wanted a dreamlike feel for this because really what this is just my character's dream or vision. So this is really what I wanted to go for here. And this image is put into this scene in a mirror ball form, and I will explain that. So essentially, I went into world properties and I put this image in here. I put that image in here, and I have it on smart interpolation, and I have it in a mirror ball form. If it were like this, it would look even worse. So that's why I have it on mirror ball form. I really do think that this ties into the dreamlike feel anyway, so I just left it like that. Now over here we have some more clouds. To make them, I watched a YouTube video on how to like mess with the volume on some mesh cubes. So I literally just went to add mesh cube. I added a cube like that, and I meshed with the volume. So let me show you what is in here. Yeah, so I messed with this cube a little bit. It just started out as a cube, like that. And I added, well, no, I added the light last. And then I morphed it into a shape, like that. And then I messed with the volume and added a mesh to volume modifier and a volume displace modifier. And it made a cloud. And then I added some light. And you can probably tell the difference there. I'm noticing now that this one does not have a light. So I am going to, oops, wrong way. I'm going to copy and paste that right there. There, now that one has a light. So there are the clouds. Next I want to show you the signs. So I will say I'm not the greatest at 3D modeling, but I did model these signs myself and these cliffs myself. And there's some grease pencil tied into the writing on the signs. Won't let me click on it right now. Into the writing on the signs and these lines right here, the road lines. And there is a humongous Easter egg in this set somewhere. And it is extremely hard to find. But I'm not going to reveal it right now. I'm actually going to make a separate video after the short film is completed. And it's going to be a demo reel / BTS video of kind of like this. It's not going to be live stream though. But the Easter egg is somewhere around here. Let me see. I'm just going to hint at it a little bit. I don't think you can see it very good, but it's somewhere around here. Anywho, this is what this looks like in this viewport shading mode. And everything just looks all gray and everything. Then we have wireframe, material preview mode, which I'd hardly ever use that. And then final render mode. So let's go to the camera view. What's on the thumbnail is what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the scene 2. So if you have watched the short clip video that I posted on here maybe a year ago, you have probably seen this already, this specific scene. It is the second scene in the whole film, and I wanted to redo it because in the original, her feet were not sticking to the ground. And I will show you that right now. So basically, I parented her to the camera, and the camera was being animated, and it looks like she's still walking forward, but her feet are not sticking to the ground at all. It's just the camera is kind of sliding her forward, and really that's not what you want. Kind of looks like the camera needs to be animated more linear anyway. And what that means is it doesn't need to come to a stop at the end. See, it kind of just stops at the end. That tells me I need to go into Graph Editor and do something. So let's go back here. I think the animation is pretty good. For this being one of my first, I mean, I'm not really going to touch it. Honestly, I don't think I should touch a lot of my earlier animations because this film is reflecting off of my journey through animation as well. You know, it's reflecting off of a senior in high school's life. It's reflecting off of a senior's life and what they would experience. And well, I kind of wanted to keep some of the beginning scenes, the beginning animations, even though some of them are not great, but that's the best I could do at that time. So that's why I really want to keep some of my original stuff. So here we have scene 2. I don't know if I want to reveal her name yet, but she does have a name. So this is a frog. Well, obviously. I hope obviously anyway. And I kind of had to go into edit mode and bring her forward a little bit with each step, so it would look better in the final render. But let's go to film. Okay, so this is transparent. If I'm going to append this in the 3D scene, I have to go under these render properties and under film, and I have to make sure that this is checked transparent. The background is checked transparent. Now I don't actually have to render this animation because I don't want a video. I want her as an object. I want her as an object to be in my 3D scene. So I'm going to save that real quick. Okay, and next I'm going to go back to my set, and I'll show you all how I put the 2D animations into this 3D world. So I'm going to get out of camera view because she's going to show up somewhere in the middle right here, probably around here. So I'm going to go to File, Append, Scene 2, Collection, Collection, and there she is. So this pink stuff right here is some reference images that I had put there. And to get rid of those, I just hit X to delete. And she's obviously too big, so I'm gonna have to move her around a little bit. Now let's go to camera view. And I think we're almost there. I think she needs to be scaled a little bit more. She needs to come this way. Scaled a little bit more. I think she needs to be scaled a little bit more. We want her to almost fill up the camera right there. Okay. So, I know this is a little messy right here, but this, like I said, this was a very old animation. This is an old set, and I really didn't grasp the idea of naming layers yet, so everything is pretty much a mess. But I'm going to rename this Scene 2. This arrow right here represents the object animation. See, I am on keyframe 1 right now. If I were to accidentally go on like this keyframe and move her forward or backward, let's move her backward just a little bit, then it would actually animate her as an object. And we don't want that. We could just go in and delete the keyframes, but what I like to do is right click and say clear animation data. That just zaps it all right there in one click. And it looks like she is going forward, so that's good. Just a little bit, huh? Okay. Now I'm going to show you all how I, parent the object to the camera. So I can hit shift to select both, and I can right click and go to parent object, and you can see that it created this little line here. That means when I just click on the camera alone, the character and the camera will move. Whenever I move the camera, the character will move with it. So I'm actually going to, either I'm going to do this, or I am going to not parent the object to the camera and just animate the camera. I think this would still be a better way to go about this. Okay, so while I have the camera selected, I'm going to make a keyframe right there by just pressing G to move and then clicking off of it. And I'm going to go to 79. There's 79 frames in this scene itself, so. And then I'm going to go back just a little bit, and we'll see how that looks. I don't know why it starts at 2. See, that kind of looks like before. So I don't think parenting the object to the camera is the answer here. So what we can do is we can go to parent again and clear parent. I think the camera is still animated though, so let's see what this looks like. I think it's too fast. I think it needs to come this way a lot. That is super slow. But you know, I can always go back and reanimate her. Well, animate her as an object rather, not actually reanimate her. But this looks pretty slow. Of course, I can render it real quick to show you all what it looks like. So let me show you all the renderer. Here it is. I didn't know I still had the clouds in there. Oh, I got motion blur turned on. So let's try that. Let's try it with motion blur. I don't know if you all can see that on YouTube, but she had there was 3 frogs right there. Yeah, y'all saw it. There was 3 frogs right there. That is called motion blur, and that is what makes it look kind of real. Motion blur is best for, what do they call it? It is best for VFX projects. I did one time. Motion tracking. Yeah. It is best for motion tracking projects. And I just recently learned how to do motion tracking. And it's pretty cool. Basically what that is you tell the computer to find certain pixels that it can follow on your video, and it will track or follow those pixels in the whole video. And you can put a null there. What that is just a place to put your character, and then your character will stick to the null, which is sticking to the pixel, the tracking pixel. So if you had a live action video, I think it's still rendering. If you had a live action video of something and you then you could with motion tracking, and it would look like the character is actually in the scene. It is super cool. Okay, Blender is at frame 25. I'm gonna go back to scene 2. And see, this is the pink stuff right here. Those are just reference images. I'm going to show you all the rim effect. So this is something really cool that Blender has that just gives it some pizzazz. Yeah. So you can probably tell the difference with this. It looks like the sun is right there. And it just gives it a little pizzazz. Just makes it look cool. And I can make it smaller or bigger, like that. And then we have, I can put it on a certain blend mode. If I wanted subtract, then it would make it darker. Or if I wanted to make it darker, then I would put it on subtract. You can pick your color. There's the mask color, but I don't really mess with that. You can also blur it like that. See, that to me is just enough. So far away you can't see the lines right there. And then you can make more samples to where it looks better like that, and the lines just get smaller and smaller. So that's something else I found really cool about Blender. I'm going to try to move on to the set. See, it's rendering right now, so I don't know if it's going to. Okay, it seems like we can get on here. It's like, nope, I'm rendering. You cannot get on me. Well, that's alright. That's okay. Oh, never mind. Okay, so it's on frame 48 right now. I don't know if it's going to let me do much of anything. Now it's on frame 50, so we can watch this render. Nah, that would be boring. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to find some more scenes, some more spoilers, Actually, this isn't a spoiler, but I will show a couple spoilers while this renders. I'll show y'all scene 42. This scene is the very first scene in the short film where I actually used motion blur, because whenever you watch it, you know, it kind of needs it. So first we have this camera shaking animation, which I thought needed motion blur, or else it would just look weird. It wouldn't look, what am I trying to say? It would still look like the camera is shaking, but with motion blur it is so much better. So that's scene 42. So we first have that camera shaking, and then here's more motion blur. You can see where it is blurring as the camera is moving, and we even have motion blur of the character. And as you can see, she is also blurred until the camera stops, and that is what motion blur is. I just animated that probably a week ago. So we're getting to the end of the short film at that moment. So I guess that's pretty good news. Let me go back to this. We're about done. Let me see if I can show you guys one more. Here we go. Here's one scene that I think really needed motion blur. I don't think there's a good way to show you all. Yeah, let's skip that one. There's really not a good way to show you all this scene because it's split into 3 parts. Oh, I can show you all this. So the other day I was kind of goofing off instead of animating the short film, and I made the frog into a me. So there she is in a wee me version, because this was supposed to be not the me, but I had another drawing of her that was kind of at this angle and it looked pretty bad. So I didn't want to put it in the actual short film. but I was thinking, she looks an awful lot like a me. So I had to do that. I had to. But anywho, it was a good opportunity to mess around with some gradient fills. So we have a radial fill, which is this, and then we have a linear fill, which is this. And of course I had to make her hands into little circles, just like the me's. But anywho, enough of that. Let's go back to the set because it is done rendering. And next thing I'm going to do, actually next thing we're going to do is watch this video. Okay, it says I saved it as scene 44. That's okay. I have scene 44 on my phone, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So here this is the new version of scene 2. I think the motion blur is cool. I think it actually goes with it. I probably should have added motion blur to the whole thing, but like I said, I didn't know what that was until I found out one day in school. So I think it's pretty good, but I still think I need to tweak it a little bit. So let's get rid of this Lily me. Okay, don't save. Okay. So we're back in the set. I'm going to show you all how I animated her in the 2D set. So let's go back here, and I can turn this on so we can get the white background. I'll show you all just basic animation stuff. So onion skinning. Onion skinning is a lifesaver in animation. It should be working. You can do it. Come on. Huh, that's weird. See, on here, it would not show up. But on this viewport shading, it would show up, but it's not. So that's kind of weird. I might have to restart it real quick. Let me restart that. Is the video still on here? No. Okay. Let me put you guys back on the set while I restart scene 2. Well, I have scene 2 back, but it is not working. And I don't know why. Well, I can save this for another day. Essentially what I was going to show you all was how I animated the 2D character as an object walking forward. But it does not want to work right now. So I will save that for another live stream, maybe. I will probably be doing more of these soon, because I think this is a really fun opportunity. I have never done a YouTube live stream before, but I have done, well, technically I have. I have done Facebook and YouTube live streams before, but for something else. So this is really completely different, because I have a different streaming. I'm using OBS Studio right now, so I have different streaming software, and you know. But whoever was watching this, thank you for watching. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. So there we have it. Just a 2D character appended into a 3D set. That's really what I wanted to show you all today. But I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, whoever was watching, thank you for watching, and I will probably make another one of these pretty soon.